Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first YouTube video. I am Madeline with Sundance Astrology, and today we're going to be talking about the Scorpio Lunar Eclipse coming in on May 15th or May 16th, depending on your time zone. So thank you so much for being here with me today, especially for my first video. I really appreciate it. Just to let you all know where I'm coming from, I have a Hellenistic foundation to my practice. So I have a Hellenistic base. I use Hellenistic Greek techniques in my astrology readings. I use traditional rulerships, and I use whole sign houses. So just so you are aware of where I'm coming from and the things that I speak about here on this channel. So before we dive into the upcoming lunar eclipse, I want to give a little bit of background information, just kind of like where we've been, basically. So I'm going to back up a little bit towards the solar eclipse that happened on April 30th. I really find it insightful to look back a little bit because I find that when we are moving through things, applying astrology to them, it's a little bit harder to see while you're in it. So we're gonna back up just a little bit to April 30th with our Taurus solar eclipse. This is basically a new moon eclipse. It's a really intense new moon. So when we're talking about eclipses, we're talking about portals that last longer than the normal moon cycle. So typically every moon cycle is about a month. The themes that come along with the moon cycles typically last about a month. With eclipses, we're talking more closer to 6 months at least, can be longer, up to about 18 months, as long as the nodes are in the signs. So we had a solar eclipse in Taurus on April 30th. So new moons, new beginnings. Eclipse new moon is like a massive new beginning. This eclipse was also, the sun and the moon were conjoined to Uranus. They were applying to Uranus about 4 degrees apart. So we began this eclipse season with this Taurus eclipse. Taurus deals with values. So as we're dealing with this eclipse conjoining Uranus, we're talking about shifting our values, because Uranus is the planet that kind of lightning strikes down, it destabilizes things, it likes to shake things up. It's very sudden. So we're talking about shifting our values, or perhaps you are creating like a whole new set of values. Basically, we are raising the bar with this solar eclipse that we experienced on April 30th. So something new may have come in that you wish to strive for within, the longer term, like I mentioned, at least 6 months. Conjoining Uranus, we're talking about a new door opening. Also, when we're talking about Taurus, we're talking about self-sufficiency. The sign of the bull likes to be comfortable. It's okay being alone on its own. So we're talking about really raising the bar for which we are working towards, setting a whole new foundation for what we want to basically grow out of that foundation. So a couple days later, we had the sun conjoining Uranus exactly. So this may have illuminated some things for you. Perhaps on April 30th, you weren't exactly sure what this new moon was meaning for you. On the 4th or the 5th, when it really hit the sun, when the sun hit Uranus in its conjunction, this is illuminating insights. A lot of times with the sun Uranus, we're talking about major downloads, things coming through the pipeline are quite important and illuminating. Maybe a new door opened, or like a missing piece to the puzzle was kind of given to you. So that was kind of last week. This week, we have a couple of really big things astrologically. We had Mercury station retrograde in Gemini. The same day, we had Jupiter enter Aries. So as I zoom out and look at this big picture, not only are we dealing with a solar and a lunar eclipse portals, like I mentioned, are huge portals for change, big shifts and transformations, but we also have Uranus here, which is kind of lightning striking, perhaps new and different ideas, maybe things that you never thought you would even be interested in are illuminating at this point in time. And then we have Jupiter in Aries, just moving into Aries May 10th. This is a fresh start. Aries is archetypal spring. Jupiter is the planet of opportunities, growth, and expansion, and it has a 12-year cycle. So Jupiter has not been in Aries since 2010, 2011. So we're talking major new chapter. At the same time, we have Mercury going retrograde, which is a little bit slower energy than Jupiter and Aries. But I think this Mercury retrograde is really asking us to reconsider the path to where we want to go. So sometimes we can get really fixed on like, this is what I want, I'm going to go straight there. This Mercury retrograde in Gemini happening right in between eclipses is kind of asking you to review and see different sides of the coin. So Mercury in Gemini is typically going to be fast moving energy. Jupiter in Aries is fast moving energy. And this retrograde falling where it does is presenting the opportunity for us to really slow down, assess the nitty gritty. Gemini is curious and inventive. So with the slower pace, it's able to offer fresh insights. Again, a different way of doing things. So stay open to different forks in the path basically to get to your destination during this time. Together, this Gemini and Aries energy can really kind of miss details. So I think this Mercury retrograde falling in between eclipses is a gift to slow down and consider all angles on this new chapter. And when I'm talking about new, fresh start, it's not like something small. Like this is really big energy. It's like we're tossing the old book away entirely and we're considering how to start the new book. So first chapter, new book. So this is all kind of happening in anticipation to this Scorpio lunar eclipse, which is happening May 15th, my time, 10:12 p.m. and Mountain Standard Time. Please do adjust that date and time as it may change based off of where you're at. Many people are going to experience this early in the morning or sometime on May 16th. So just keep that in mind. But we are really, kind of moving through the things that we need in order to do this fresh start. And with this lunar eclipse in Scorpio, we're kind of talking about a major release. So Scorpio deals with our obsessions, it deals with secrets, and sometimes when we have Scorpio lunations, it can almost feel kind of like raw and transformative. So Scorpio likes to really dig underneath and see what's below the surface. And as we have this Jupiter and Aries going on, this Mercury retrograde, it's kind of asking us to perhaps detach from certain things and kind of clean out the space so we can really remove any blockages to better prepare us to move towards this new thing that we're working towards that is going to expand over the course of time. So really encourage zooming out. If you know what you're building, what your new endeavor is at this time, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Otherwise, that's kind of just a little backtrack a little bit. Hopefully that kind of jogs your memory or gives you some aha moments to, oh, this was my new start, or this is kind of, it's more clear now what I'm working on. It may not have been so clear on April 30th when everyone was talking about the eclipse. So let's take a look at the chart now and we can dig into this Scorpio lunar eclipse a little bit deeper. Okay, so let's dig into the chart. So this is our lunar eclipse chart. This is a total lunar eclipse, and it is a south node eclipse, meaning the moon is conjoining the south node, as opposed to the new moon, solar eclipse, the sun and the moon were conjoining the north node. So there's more emphasis on the south node of the moon in this eclipse. The south node can typically resemble or symbolize something that is decreasing, something that is lessening. So with the moon in Scorpio, I mean, we're talking about a major release for this lunar eclipse. Check where Scorpio is in your chart. Your Taurus and Scorpio axis is going to give you a better idea on potentially where this release is likely to happen for you. So we have the ruler of the eclipse. The ruler of Scorpio is Mars. So to get a better understanding on what is going on here, we can take a look at Mars. Mars is conjoining Neptune. He is applying the conjunction. So Neptune brings in a dissolving quality. So we have the south node of the moon representing, again, a lessening of things, a decrease of this area in your chart. And then we have Neptune conjoining the ruler of this eclipse, which indicates some sort of dissolving. So something is dissolving away. And I really see this as, in order to go towards where we want, the things that we are desiring right now, perhaps what came up for you during the solar eclipse, the Taurus new moon eclipse on April 30th, we have to release our grip and let some baggage from the past dissolve away. So Scorpio deals with our obsessions. Perhaps we're holding on to the old path, the path that we have been walking for, however long. Or to an old way of doing things. And really, this is necessary for us to make space for the new, for what we are calling in. This eclipse is asking you to release this old baggage so it does not block your way. So Scorpio, we're talking about a fixed water sign. This perhaps could be an emotional release. We have also not only a conjunction from Mars to Neptune, but we have a square from Saturn. So just real quickly, before I dive into Saturn, this Mars, the ruler of the eclipse conjoining Neptune, to me indicates Neptune deals with spirituality. So this is almost asking to trust the bigger picture, to trust divine timing, the divine plan. We have Mars, which can be kind of destructive energy. It is the planet of conflict and strife. It is the god of war. But it's in Pisces. So I get this creation and destruction energy where a lot of times things that are created in our lives come after the destruction of something else. So the destruction of one thing is going to lead to the creation of another. Again, this Scorpio and Taurus axis, Taurus wants self-sustaining values, it wants comfort, it wants pleasure, and Scorpio is kind of asking us to look even under the deepest surfaces and transform or release what is not serving us to move forward towards this new endeavor that we are working towards. So the destruction of the old baggage, the heavy weights, the old path, to kind of open up the doorway to the new. So moving on, though, we also have a square to Saturn. So the moon at 25, the sun at 25, and then we have Saturn here at 24, squaring both the moon and the sun. Saturn can present some sort of checkpoint here, or perhaps you're dealing with obstacles, and maybe the obstacle is just releasing your grip on the old and kind of jumping off that cliff and trusting what is meant to come in time. So Saturn, he wants us to get real. He wants us to make a decision. He asks for responsibilities, and he reminds us that our responsibilities are still real. So this could also indicate some sort of pivot point. Like things need reorienting. Maybe you need to make a decision to help you move closer towards that new moon ideal. So really, this aspect from Saturn is quite interesting, and it is going to make this lunar eclipse a bit more intense and potentially, just challenging. So something else to note is that 25 degrees of Scorpio and 25 degrees of Taurus are in the bounds of Saturn. So in Hellenistic astrology, out of all the 30 degrees of each sign, they're kind of broken up into specific degrees that are ruled by a certain planet, or in the bounds of that planet, basically. So it's almost like Saturn is kind of taxing the sun and the moon here in these degrees. So Saturn demands discipline. Saturn also rules over separation. So really big picture vibe is we have to separate ourselves from something that is holding us back. Saturn also deals with contemplation and impermanence. So, thoughts over the impermanence of the old path. Taurus likes to keep things fixed, and so does Scorpio, but this square to Saturn is almost demanding to, again, release something. So, all pretty interesting aspects, I would say, in regards to this lunar eclipse, basically demanding a release and some sort of transformation coming from that release. So Mars and Neptune does remind us to trust in the divine timing. Really, my kind of mantra or affirmation for this lunar eclipse is to trust that what is dissolving is meant to go. Now, Mars is going to apply exactly to Neptune a couple days later on the 17th or 18th. So, I think that while this is going on, it might be a little uncomfortable. There's definitely bound to be emotional releases. Every Scorpio new or full moon that I have studied through, I have witnessed some sort of cord cutting, whether that's within myself or watching that around others. So there are ties that maybe need to be severed, but really this is to set you up for what you are calling in. But you can't do that without letting go of the old. So back to my affirmation, trust that what is dissolving is meant to go. And while I don't recommend manifesting during eclipses, I usually practice affirmations during this time to help me stay present. So I hope you find this affirmation helpful. Again, if you know what you're ready to release, I think for a lot of us, it's been kind of showing itself slowly over the course of this kind of in-between eclipse situation. Please feel free to share in the comments below. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to my channel if you want to get updates on when I upload new videos. If you find this video would be helpful to somebody else, please share. All of this really helps my channel grow, so I appreciate it so much. If you want to book a reading with me, you can do so through my website, www.sundanceastrology.com. And you can also find me over on Instagram and TikTok, Sundance Astrology, where I post a lot more regular tips and insights on the general astro weather. So thank you so much for being here. I'm wishing you blessings during this lunar eclipse. I hope what you are releasing is beneficial for you in the long run, and really hope that you can kind of zoom out and trust the divine timing. Thank you all for being here. I'll catch you in the next one.